just focusing on teachers. What we've realized in our past experience is that how much the students can progress is a lot dependent on how much teachers progress and how much teachers know. And so we realized that more than the students, we should be working with the teachers, upgrading their knowledge, sharing the industry latest updates and everything, so that teachers know what's going on and so that they can transfer the knowledge to the children. And for that reason, every month we research on what is it that's upcoming, what is it that's latest, and what is it that teachers should know. And we take up a topic on that and we do around a 1 hour, 2 hour workshop. Generally, it's free of cost. We don't charge for the community. We also have a WhatsApp community, I think, which is around 150, 170 members strong. If you're not part of that community yet, Nishant will, or maybe I will share the link soon here only. You'll join that. So every month we keep taking a poll. What is it that you would want to learn next time? And we try to create a workshop on that. Okay. So next time, maybe y'all can get a direct meeting link. Y'all don't need to register if y'all are a part of that community. Having said that, how many of y'all are already teaching some part of coding in your school? Nishan, can we have a yes, no poll?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I am taking.
Yeah, we have whole.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Tell me, sir.
Sir, I'm taking care of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and Python. We are having specially designed curriculum in our school.
Very good.
Um, Other than this, normal computer books and all. So, sir
Very
has
good.
already designed particular that the curriculum that has to be implemented for the logical and thinking ability of the children. We are
Very
having
good.
our special curriculum. So we are. I am teaching these things in my school.
Wonderful. No, no, it's wonderful. And I believe most of these teachers would be teaching. If not, they would at least start teaching very soon. So that's a very good objective. So the objective of today's workshop is that we are assuming that some of the schools are not yet started. So how should they get started in that
We
direction?
have a poll as well. If
We have a poll. Can you launch it?
yes, we have launched a poll. People can go to the poll section and they would be able to see the poll.
In the poll
Uh,
section, is it?
yes.
Okay. Okay. So everyone can just go to the poll section and, share what are your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Should I share the screen and show?
Yes.
So those who have not seen it yet, this is that poll section. You'll find the icon here at the bottom and the activities. We'll have a lot of different polls around here as well. So I think it will be good for you to see. You can vote, select any one of the options here. The votes, all of the votes have been kept anonymous, so feel free to vote.
So what each one would mean is, first option is planning to start, which means the school which is not yet started, but they plan to start, and which is a good thing. So that is the first thing. Books, there are curriculum books already ready with multiple publications. So are you all using that or something provided by CBSE? Then there is a dedicated computer teacher who decides how to go about and everything. Fourth is a licensed curriculum. So, like a STEM.org licensed curriculum or an LMS, so the platform is already there and you're using a platform. Or last is the school has totally outsourced the entire department, from setting up the lab, teachers, everything is provided by a specialist. Okay, so we'll just take one more minute. Please, everyone, go to the poll section and give us the vote so we can accordingly discuss. Fair. So we have around 50% of the votes. We'll go ahead with the discussion. Great. So the objective, I'll quickly move on to the objective. Our time is limited to 5:30. So around we have 55 minutes now. Today, what we're going to discuss, if you can move on to the next, I'll just move on to the next slide. So why do we need to teach coding and AI? I believe every one of us, we don't really need to discuss this. Every one of us, we understand. We'll then discuss which concepts and platforms can be introduced and when should it be introduced. So whatever we are going to discuss, some schools might get the idea of how to get started. Other schools can get the idea of how to direct your efforts. So suppose the teacher is super enthusiastic, super knowledgeable, but they really want to understand when to introduce which concept or which platforms to use, which projects to introduce, then that is something that we can discuss today. What are the best practices? So there are, best practices which in computer education are implemented in all schools worldwide. We'll share a couple of those best practices with you all. What are the resources you need to implement? We'll try and do a live class, of maybe a basic app development platform if we have time. And last, maybe Nishant can introduce a little AI and ML. How can you introduce that using project-based learning? And in the end, we can do a Q&A. Does that make sense? All okay? You all can just do a thumbs up or write a yes, and that is good enough. Okay, super. So we'll quickly jump into this discussion right now. So I was just in the morning discussing, this with one of the schools, and very reputed school in Mumbai, very reputed. At least it must be a 50-year-old school. And also I met my school where I studied from. I met the computer head there, and we realized that we are almost teaching the same things that we used to teach earlier 15 years 17 years back when I graduated. So we used to learn HTML, CSS. Then I had Visual Basics, a little bit of Notepad, Microsoft Office, what is hardware, what is software, all of those things. And that is what I learned. And even now, that is what is being taught almost everywhere. And the teacher himself, mentioned that, we would want to really understand what do we introduce new? What do we introduce different so that children can start using it, start creating apps, start creating projects? Okay. So why do you all think computer education needs constant evolution? You all can just quickly type in or unmute and speak. For example, it prepares children for the future. So now even Microsoft Office is almost, gone. So we had an entire career on Microsoft Office, but there are so many new platforms that the next generation is going to use. So it prepares us for the future. What else? Development of technology, be tech savvy. Okay, in the comment section, I'm reading all the comments quickly. To stay upgraded, it is fastest changing technology. Very true. Instead of theory, only practical session required. Very true. Any other thoughts? And I think these are very good thoughts because when we learned, in the computer lab, we almost learned everything which was theory and less practical. So I never created a web page. I never created an app. I never created anything. So we just learned on paper and we answered everything on paper. And that is what, our computer education was. We live in a digital age. It enhances creativity. It drives innovation, especially in children. And it revolutionizes problem solving. Make sense? Nishant, you would want to throw some light on this?
Yeah, I think all are doing fine.
So, but before we upskill school education, what should we be upskilling first?
Yes.
Anyone, any answer? Maybe it can be a one-word answer. Wow.
Oh, great.
Very good. Balvinder Kaur, ma'am, where are you from? Which school are you from?
Good evening, all. I'm Balvinder Kaur and I'm from Nalanda International School, Baroda,
Oh,
Gujarat.
wonderful. Okay, okay. Very nice. Perfect answer. Preeti ma'am, Prerna ma'am, everyone.
Everyone.
We thought that this would not be a common answer, but it's wonderful, Very true. We should be upgrading ourselves first. We should be upgrading the teachers first. Okay. How do we upgrade? And it's very important. So how do we upgrade? So here's the roadmap, which probably Nishant can walk us through.
So, hi everyone. I think it was a perfect answer by everyone, and I really appreciate the way that the teachers understand that teachers are the greatest showman inside the classroom, and they are the only one teaching the students, right? So it's very important that the teachers upgrade themselves. So taking that point in mind, we have this roadmap, which is some sort of a thing which teachers can use to upskill themselves, and something which they can teach to the students as well. Correct. This is not about a roadmap of becoming an expert computer programmer. No, but this can be a roadmap to start your journey towards becoming an expert in computer education, right? Becoming an expert in computer education teaching. So, uh, do you want me to present, Dhruv? Should I present? Yeah. So, coming back to the roadmap, initially the first few grades or the primary section of the school should really focus on digital literacy, which obviously we do in a lot of schools. But what we have generally observed is digital literacy, though required, it gets dragged exhaustively. Like it's okay till students to learn it till grade 4 or maximum till grade 5. So having digital literacy is a must thing. How to use a computer and how to do basic things on your computer, uh, or learning office skills or your basic stuff about your computer, handling files on your computer, and work around the computer, tinker around it. So grades 2 to 4 students do that very well. Sometimes extended till 5 is also okay. But this is not the only thing they should be doing, right? Because you cannot spend all lab sessions in an entire year, or how much ever you might have, 50 or whatever, once a week. So but then there's something else you should be doing as well. So we can start introducing them block-based coding, which also, if teachers know that there is something called as block-based coding platforms, which can help the students start understanding how coding works, but not directly through coding, and using blocks and creating their own scene, stories, scenarios, and small programs as well. This can also be extended to learning games, creating how to create games and apps. So all that is included under block-based coding. It's a huge world under block-based coding as well. There are a lot of things which can be done and taught. So again, it's a step which should be happening parallelly with the digital literacy. So that gives a hand to the younger kids how to use the computer, what is internet, how to go on the net, search for stuff, create stuff, and obviously also start learning how block-based coding or basic stuff of coding works. Going one step ahead, so this could be done with a great 3D slide. The next part would be learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or in general, we can call it as web development. Because why is it the next step? I can give you a justified understanding that why not anything else, and why only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So as we know already that we live in a digital age, right? So everything else around you comes from internet. Whatever kids see, whatever we see, whatever we use in our phones, on your computer, laptop, comes from the internet. And HTML, CSS are the most prominent standards of creating things on the internet. So if you want to create a web page on the internet, HTML is the language. So in a sense, in this digital age, it is like the ABCD of the digital age. So that is the first thing kids should start learning from grade 5 onwards. And maybe in a year or two, it will be a second nature to them. So they should be able to read code. They should be able to read websites, see where the websites are made and how it's made, how they get implemented in real life. So we don't want students to stay into the knowledge saying that, oh, I don't know what is a web server, or I don't understand how these websites come on. And probably what is the key feature is that in today's generation, kids should not feel that something like a web app or a website or a mobile phone app is magical. Okay. So what I can related to is people reacting to what AI does in today's scenario, like in 2023, what ChatGPT can do. Some people, like every one of us, feel that it's something magical. But obviously, if you are learning programming or learning coding since last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, people who created it, for them, it's not magical. For them, it's a program. But we really want the students not to see it as a customer or a client, but people should understand it so that it's in their part of their daily life. They use it as a tool, make it more effective, and they don't get like blown away by it and swayed away by in their decisions. So HTML, CSS would make a like a very strong foundation of these things. JavaScript is obviously a must to start learning programming. This is where text-based programming will start taking one step ahead. Grade 8 and above, this could be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Until 12, they can keep learning Python. Initial few years of 8 and 9 and 10, they can start learning Python or even continue JavaScript in 8. Some schools do start Python in 9 and above also. So it really depends on school as well. But these are the appropriate age groups which can take up Python and start learning. And even Python has a huge library of things which it can do, which can be explored. So there is no end to it as well. But this gives you an idea. Now, I go to this is the roadmap initially planned, but I think do people think that have you been doing this already in your school or not? Like you can post in your chat box that sir, we have been taking either Python or HTML or Scratch, or do you think it's a new thing for you which you saw it for the first time? Some parts of it, I think CBSE does expect students to learn Python in 9th and 10th. So that CBSE school. ICSE schools also do Python in grade 9 and above. They do Java. ICSE school does Java in grade 9 and 10. So as teachers, what do you think? Is it the first time you're seeing this, or some teachers think that we have already been doing this? What do you think? Can you post it? You post your comments about it? Yes.
Yes, it seems most of them are doing the same thing.
Achha, sorry, I was not saying.
Yeah, very similar.
Sorry. Okay, great. So most of you all are already doing this, or yeah. Great. So then, what is so much different about this roadmap, which I am trying to showcase it to you? Great, public school also looks. So there is something which we might be doing as well. There are some pointers which I want to showcase. Okay, there are some methods or techniques which I want to showcase, which maybe the textbooks or the books which we see in the market or the ones which are prescribed by the government might not be following. Is there are some things called some technique called as GLP or group learning project. What group learning project signifies is that all the learning which is happening from block-based coding, HTML, and Python should be happening in groups, and students should be learning in groups. Activities should be done, projects should be created, but in form of groups. And national level competitions and hackathons do happen in such a way, taking inspirations from those things. Daily learning can also be done in form of group learning projects. Students can join and collaborate and make a project, and this can be one of the example of group learning project. There are different techniques of doing group learning projects as well. So this should be one example. And group learning projects can happen from grade 3 as well. So you can do group learning project using Scratch and block-based coding. You can do websites using group learnings, and obviously Python kari sakte. So these are some techniques which we are trying to list down, which students or teachers might be following or might not be following. So if it's a new thing for you, great. You take it as an understanding that these are techniques which you can use in your classrooms to enhance the learning experience and make it more effective than a textbookish sort of experience. So we don't want students to just learn something and they struggle to implement it on the computer. But it would be really great if students do something on their own and create something out of their own thinking and their own creativity, which at the end of the day, at the end of a year, they get a huge sense of achievement after a week or a month of doing your lessons. That, hey, when I come to this class, I get to share my creativity with my friends, with my teachers, and that sense of achievement is like adds a lot to the learning. Okay, so that is what we should focus on. Uh, Another thing is PBL, which are project based. This is project based learning, so it adds on to the part of group based group learning projects. But project based learning is doing the same thing, but for every class. So every class would be creating a project or progressing bit by bit toward a project. Okay, so what traditional teaching used to happen, or like what I was taught in my classrooms, or what we have seen happening generally is that what we have seen generally happening is textbooks generally give you the information and give you the knowledge, but people do really struggle in converting into a project or a real life experience or a real life scenario where it could be really implemented. So that is what project based learning comes in. Every lesson, every lecture which you take with the students should develop towards creating a project, or should add up towards creating a project. And you teach your concepts first time as well, but make sure that kids understand how to put it in those projects. The projects, there are some projects which you can create it with them parallelly with you. There are some projects you give them to create, and let them explore their creativity. So this is one part. Great. So we do GLP and PBL and robotics lab. Nice. So similarly, it can be done with all programming languages as well. Another part is AI, which is generally in trend since now, and everyone wants their hands on AI. Everyone wants the kids to learn AI, and just to make sure that we as teachers are not swayed away by this technology or anything, you know, and we don't get in the wrong flow. What we can start doing is even at a younger age as well, kids can start taking this understanding of AI as well. So we can try artificial intelligence, machine learning. We can do computer vision, like augmented reality, all that stuff in grade 3 and with grade 3 and 4 students as well. Correct. So whatever these red color circles which you see can be done in all of it, which generally schools might be doing, might not be doing as well. So if you're not doing AI with Scratch, then it doesn't make sense to doing AI at all, like in at a later stage, because then kids think that it is something which can be done at a very older age, and at a younger age AI doesn't make any sense. But no, kids at grade 4 and grade 3 do perfectly well and understand the concepts of AI and machine learning, and can create projects as well. So you can start from a young age. You can do JavaScript projects. There are a lot of JavaScript libraries, there are a lot of Python libraries which can help you to implement AI-based project, which is a part of discussion at the end of today's session. So we'll throw some light on that as well. Great. So this was about the roadmap. Next point is we can start understanding what are some platforms which you can start using to do all this stuff, right? So for block-based coding, these are some platforms which we are sharing with you just as an example, if you have not already been doing it. But if you are doing it well and you can take up something from this as well, I'm sure you can take up from this. So Scratch is the most popular one. A lot of teachers have already commented here that we have been doing the same. Microsoft MakeCode is also another such platform. All of these platforms are block-based, to be the first point. Then MakeCode gives you a lot of options to create arcade games, to create Minecraft games, but all these games are created using blocks. So that's the point. Blockly is another thing, another block-based, and Thunkable is also another block-based mobile phone app development. So all the other ones just create simple applications like Scratch does, but they cannot be used anywhere, right? They are only web apps and can be only viewed on that platform. But Thunkable is some kind of a platform which allows you to create mobile phone apps, but they can also use it in your phone. Probably how MIT App Inventor also does that, but then MIT App Inventor does not allow you to do live testing if you don't have a mobile phone. So here Thunkable allows you to do the live testing on your web browser itself. Right? So generally we have noticed that schools don't have, obviously students will not have mobile phones in the schools, in the labs, right? So how would they test their apps is having a platform which will, give a visual representation of a screen, a virtual screen, where they can test their app and create their app. So Thunkable is one such example. There are text-based coding platforms. Obviously, there are a lot of IDEs, but these are some examples which we can share. Notepad++ is one popular one. If your students are starting to learn code and they want to start with basics, the most prominent example, which I have not listed, the most OG original one is Notepad. You can start learning on Notepad, and there's nothing like it, and then develop further. If you want to learn something better, like want something better IDE, you have Notepad++. Then I think it's also one of the options. Visual Studio, Visual Code, VS Code is there. So these are options by Microsoft, and they are great options. PyCharm, again another Python related IDE, and most popular one as well, recommended by most of the boards too. And all of these softwares are a great tool. People have been using it since years, and you can also try it if you have not done it yet. Right. And one more we would like to mention is Replit. Replit is a cloud-based IDE. It allows you to program in a lot of different languages, including C, C++, Python, Java, the older ones, the newer ones, latest ones. It also has online cloud databases as well. So the difference between Replit and Jupyter Notebook is also one such platform. Okay, so there are endless platforms here. We have just mentioned some of them here, so people can take such examples those who have not used any of them earlier as well. So one difference is that Replit allows you to store your programs on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about saving your code or saving anything offline. Everything can be stored in your account. Maybe Jupyter Notebook also does the same. Okay, so going one step ahead, I think obviously Dhruv can take it up right from the next part. Right. Okay. So what I was suggesting is that Code.org is another. Code.org is a great platform. So as we all come to a point where some people might have heard of these platforms, some have not heard of this platform, and obviously some teachers who are already into this know a lot other platforms as well, Code.org and all. We have already mentioned Code.org in the other slides coming in slides ahead. So what I was thinking is that we should do a quick quiz with all the teachers present here, so that maybe there are some random questions which I have experienced throughout some of my programming career.
Sure.
And we can do a quick discussion among such questions. There need not be a final verdict that who is right and who is wrong, but we can just take an experience poll from everyone. So I would request everyone to please participate in these polls. These are computer education based questions, and they are silly. Some questions might be really silly for you. If you think, please do try to answer them and participate in the quiz. So I'll post 5 questions, but we'll do one question, see the answers, discuss the answers, and then go ahead with the second question. And we can do it really quick. We'll take 1 minute per question. Okay.
All right.
Okay, great. So you come to the poll section. I'm launching one poll right away. This is the poll. You see, does more RAM mean faster computing? Okay, wait, let me share an entire screen. Okay, can you see the poll? Everyone is able to see the poll?
Yes.
Great. So a lot of people are voting, and we can see the live vote count as well. Nice.
So it's 57 of us. I think we all should quickly vote. It doesn't take more than a second to really vote.
Just click. Think and click. Think and click. These are questions which you can see in your daily life. A lot of people ask these questions also, right? Like the other day, I was asked by one of my students, "Sir, computer slow chal raha hai, kya karna hai? RAM बढ़ा दे क्या?" ऐसा कुछ. And people like hear about that a lot. Even if you're not sure, we have an option. Maybe it can. So it's okay. It can be diplomatic.
So, but yes, See, the everything that all that we ask is your participation, so that
Yes,
we are
yes.
motivated to keep doing this for you all every month. So just quickly vote, and we can move ahead on the next session.
So
So,
where to
okay.
vote exactly?
oh, there is a poll section. If you are also from your phone, so you see those
Uh-huh.
shapes down below on the right hand
Box
side.
circle,
Box,
circle,
circle, and
triangle.
square.
box circle, triangle. Click on that. Go to poll.
Does everyone see it?
Yes, now I can see. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, so this I'm keeping this poll on so that people can still vote on it. I'm not
Okay.
ending that poll. I think this one is also on. I'll put another poll. This is the third poll, like the second poll, second question. So can you make a web page or a website without using HTML? Can you or can you not?
Just scroll down, everyone. You all will be able to see this third question. So we have
We've kept
25
the other
votes.
polls. Great. So people are able to see the polls, right? Hello.
Yes. Anyone who's not able to see the vote, the poll section, please unmute and speak.
You can
so we
also
find
go
you.
to the previous votes, previous polls, and do your voting if you have not done for the other questions. They are also live.
Okay, I think we can move on to the next question.
Yeah, this is the next question. When did Apple stop the iOS browser Safari for the support of iframe tag? So there is a popular tag called as iframe tag in HTML. So if it's still working, not working. Yeah, obviously, I assume people do not Google search. And might be difficult to find on Google search as well. Okay. People can vote here.
So Nishan,
Okay.
the level of difficulty is increasing.
Sorry. They are in the increasing order of difficulty as well. Because earlier the questions were simple. So obviously people are very patient, really patient to vote and not question me what are you asking. But I appreciate your patience. And once we are done with the last question, I'll explain why are these questions here and what is the agenda for asking these questions as well, and the correct answer as well. Okay, there are 30 votes and half of the people have voted. So I'll quickly open the last question, second last. JVM.
So question 5 is worth 50 lakhs and the final one 1 crore.
Okay, nice. Okay. But no one likes bytecode and object code.
Now since you mentioned, they are like, हाँ चलो कर देते bytecode. Why not?
We are not playing any mind games, or are we? No, these are just normal plays. Okay.
Okay, so we have 34 votes now.
Last
We
one. Last one.
Yeah.
So it's one whole line. This code is A is equal to A plus 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 A. If you this is the code if you are changing it in parts with 10 pieces. Nice.
Yeah, Nishant, I think we should.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
go ahead. So I'll start with the first question. So initially, first point, I want everyone to understand that these questions are just here for our understanding and our learning, and so that if you get it wrong or if you get it right, it's not the matter of it's not the agenda here, but it's for us to understand that at what level do we need an upskilling of ourselves, and are we missing on any updates from the real life world, or are we just stuck in the textbooks which we have in our hand? Okay, so are we limiting ourselves or not, and how do we upskill better? Okay, so where the first question says that does more RAM mean faster computing? So the correct answer obviously is no. Increasing RAM has no effect on computer speed. So quite popular, quite against the popular answer, but your RAM has like almost negligible effect on how much fast your computer speed is. Your computer speed always depends on the processor, your memory. RAM has a part to play in it, but it's not the only thing affecting it, and it cannot directly impact the change in speed. Okay, it can just give you faster execution of work or faster process switching and all. But the main thing, so what would be the correct part here instead of RAM? If you want to select the first option, it's your microprocessor. It has to be really good to increase the fastness. So probably if your computer is working slow, if you feel that when I start my computer it's opening up slower and a lot of things are happening, then that has nothing to do with your RAM processor or anything. Basically there are a lot of apps which start up with your operating system. Go to task manager and disable them from the startup list. That will start up your computer faster. If you feel that while opening your your Explorer, File Explorer, all my files load very slowly, all my drives open very slowly, then that's an issue with your RAM. But while doing in general, anything which happens in your computer is really slow, that's your processor. That's what we're trying to ask. Correct? So the one answer is this, that no, RAM has no effect on computer speed. Okay. Another is, can you make a web page or a website without HTML? No, I cannot is the right answer. Okay, because HTML is the standard prescribed to make a web page. Okay, so if you try to make a web page, it will, and you host it and try to host it on the internet, it will give you an error that you have not mentioned the document type of your document which you are trying to upload on the internet, and it has to be one of the document type which the internet wants you to do. So, but using Google side option. Okay, so maybe you might want to check, ma'am, but Google like is the standard for HTML. Obviously, if you are saying that Google site, no. We are not talking about Google site. So in a sense, if you are doing this wrong, or if you are finding it difficult to understand, then that's what I'm talking about, that this is the level of upskilling we need to do. That we need to know that is there any replacement for HTML, like HTML बिना यूज किए कोई वेब पेज बन सकता है, उसमें कोड में HTML ही नहीं होगा तो वेब पेज बनेगा क्या, उसे वेब पेज भी बुलाया जा सकता है क्या? So no, answer is no. It's the standard for creating web pages. Okay, so that is the one thing. And obviously आप बिना कोड HTML का लिखे ब्लॉक बेस्ड प्रोग्रामिंग यूज करके HTML का कोड लिखवा सकते हो. Is WordPress is a website, right? Wix is a website. These are things which are using block-based programming to create your website, but it uses HTML code in the sense that वो हमें HTML code लिखवाता नहीं. Adobe Dreamweaver, which was an old software, जो हमारे लिए कोड लिख देता है खुद से, है ना? तो but HTML तो लिखना ही पड़ेगा. Is what the main agenda is, or the main question focuses around saying that HTML is the standard for creating a web page. There cannot be any websites or web page without using HTML. That's why the first line which we so we can create a website without writing code. हाँ, that's what I'm trying to say. आप create कर सकते हो, but वो जो चीज जो आपके लिए website create करेगी, the technology which you will use to do that will anyway write HTML code for you. So I'm saying I'm not talking about you. I'm talking the subject here is the web page. Yeah. So you are not the subject. Subject is the web page. Web page बन सकता है क्या नहीं वो question है. आप बना सकते हो क्या नहीं question है ना? But can you not? So we cannot.
So you're saying that a web page, fundamentally, even if I have something like a Wix or something
WordPress,
like that, where I can just
Wix,
pick and drop things,
Yes.
it is still as a foundation using HTML as a platform.
Yeah,
As a
so even if you
package.
create a website using WordPress, it is giving you an interface to do HTML code where you don't have to write the code, but it gives you blocks where you can pick and drop blocks, pick and drop
Understood.
navigation here and there. But at the background, in the back end, it is writing that HTML code for you.
Okay.
Great. We'll go quickly to the next question about Apple not allowing iframe tag. It happened in 2021. That's the right answer. If people want to know about this more, so why is this question here? So the main point of putting this question here is that we as teachers should always stay updated to any tiny bit of information which we can get our hands on. And I know that I know that we cannot keep our hands on all the information. Even I, taking this polls or doing this workshop, will always not be 100% updated to everything, but we try our best to make sure that we know everything. And since we are always in the practice of making programs, making software, making projects with the kids, we have the best of the knowledge and best of the updates. Where do you get such updates? So every technology has their own documentation, right? The best source is MSDN. We will describe that later on as well. But the main question, or the main part of putting this question here, is staying updated to latest tech. And since 2021, iOS is used in Apple phones and Apple iPads. And they stopped using iframe tag. So if your website has an iframe tag, जिसके अंदर आपने कोई YouTube video डाला है, आपने कोई video डाला है, it will not open up in your Safari browser. Since 2021, iOS version 14 से ये सब बंद हो गया. So, and they have reasons for that mentioned in their website, but this is not the main agenda. The main agenda is staying updated. So we need to get our hands on latest documents, latest things which get released, which gets updated, which gets cancelled, which gets stop of support, which gets added support. पहले नहीं था, अभी आ गया, पहले था, अभी नहीं है. ये सारी चीजें constantly upgrade होती रही. So that is why it's really important for a computer teacher to understand what is happening, what's not happening. Right? Then the part is JVM. So, and again, first question is, why is this question here? This is one of the questions from the famous ICSE board, and it's one of their board examination paper asking 9th, 10th ये सब boards में लोग पूछते हैं. This is one of the famous question, and I'll tell you what is the correct answer. The correct answer is bytecode, but since this is directly picked up from there, I just want teachers to get an understanding that bytecode is not the complete answer as well. Interpreter is also not the complete answer as well. Compiler is also not the complete answer as well. The complete answer should be bytecode interpreter. This has been a topic of discussion among a lot of ICSE teachers and boards, that why are these things in the textbook, and why are such questions created as well. So it gives a really wrong sense of understanding among the students that JVM uses interpreter, JVM uses bytecode, or JVM uses compiler. But in a real sense, what actually happens is JVM uses bytecode. It's an interpreter which uses bytecode. Okay, so if you want to answer the question, you can mark interpreter, get wrong. You can mark bytecode, get wrong. You can mark something which your textbook says right for an ICSE student. But we as teachers should really focus on teaching the students what is happening actually in the process. So it's a bytecode interpreter, okay, which only takes bytecode as an input. And I can give you one such popular question as well. Everyone keeps asking that whether Java is using interpretation or compilation for running a program. And most of the teachers answered, or most of the students also answered, that it's an interpreter. It never uses compilation and all. But if you read through the entire process of how Java program is run, it also uses compilation as well as interpretation both. Okay, so there's no point in discussing such topics. This is another such question. Answer is 22, so it has the most number of votes, so it is correct. But yeah, we'll discuss that, ma'am. Spashini, ma'am, we'll definitely discuss that. Yeah, we have that things in the slides later on. So this is the last question. I will end my discussion for these questions here, saying that this answer is right. Those who got it correct, great job. You understand how these operators work. Those who did not get it correct, go to IDE, run the code, you'll understand how this works. But why is this question here saying that these are the questions picked up from C++ textbooks of HSC boards, and it's one of the most popular question asked in HSC board exams, 11th standard, 12th standard, and a lot of terminal exams of popular colleges of 11th standard as well. And it seems to be a favorite question of the teachers who make these papers. I don't know. So why is this wrong, or why do I think that this is wrong? Is whenever you try to run this code in a compiler, okay, it will give you a warning saying that you cannot update the same variable in the same statement, which is doing something wrong to your computer. You are harming your computer, or it's a warning given by your computer. And there are a lot of documentation on this as well. The person who created C++, Barney Strauss, that guy has also printed articles on the same thing, that we should not update a variable in the same statement. Okay, so that is the whole point about this. Obviously it works. If something is not recommended to do, we should not, but it can be done. I can do that, but it's not recommended. Your compiler will always throw a warning saying that please don't do this. Okay? So you can obviously food for thought these questions are, and it gives a sense of understanding that we definitely can learn a lot and can keep on learning as well.
Great, yeah, great, makes sense. I think great, Nishant. So one thing that we understand that that there is a lot of scope of learning. If we got 3 right, 3 wrong, 4 right, some questions had a gray line, that's fair. But the point here is, even I understood that being from tech, even I did not know a lot of answers here. So the point is that, hey, I really need to learn more, read more about the platforms that we're using and the tech that we're using.
Yes.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Nishant.
Yeah. So, like adding up to the questions and what Dhruv said is, we need to learn a lot more and we need to upskill ourselves more. So what my next slide talks about is, what are the challenges teachers face in upskilling yourself. As a teacher, what challenges do I face? And instead of putting it up on the chat box, what we can do is, everyone can open this link, menti.com, in your computer or your
what we'll do, Nishant, I think, because we are almost we just have 10-12 minutes left.
Achha.
So what we'll do is, we can keep this for maybe the end.
Later.
We'll
Okay.
cover a couple of topics quickly.
Okay.
One are the resources that everyone
Yes.
can use.
Correct.
Okay. And second, which is an optional thing, we were planning that we can do a live session with everyone introducing any of the platforms, maybe for app development, something like a Thunkable. So people who would like to just understand, what is the ideal way of going through a project-based learning platform, then they can wait. And after the resources, I'll be sharing a link for feedback with you all. Please mention your correct name. Based on that, we'll be issuing certificates to all of you all. Okay, so in the next 5 to 7 minutes, I'll share a link of the feedback form, and after that, you all can decide to stay or move on.
Yeah,
Great. So, what are the resources that you all can use? So, exhaustively, first, and I think the most widely used resource since last 30 to 40. Can you enlarge the screen
It is right.
to see the book's name? Okay, you can just zoom it in.
We'll show. Yeah, we'll show it.
Yeah,
I'll
so
show
there are
you.
multiple publications giving out these resources, boards giving out these resources, but there are pros and cons of every platform. So what we are planning to discuss today is, according to your school type, the budget, the resources available, what works best for you. So books, the best thing about books is it gives you a lot of knowledge. So it has a lot of theory, a lot of literature on technology on the platform. So in terms of knowledge, it is very high. You can rate it at 90 out of 100. Access to content is also fair. It is 50 because you can't really access it online, or it is just limited to that book. So if the student does not have the book there, or maybe in that particular class, the student might not be able to access the content. Now, one limitation, major limitation, is updates to the content. Now, we know that, all boards, everything, including all our subjects that we learn, the updates to it are very slow. So, and especially in technology, it's important that every year the curriculum is looked at, a revised curriculum comes in with new technology, new projects and everything. But in books, that is a limitation, because once it is printed, once it is made, then it is generally updated every 5 to 7 years. So that is one drawback of just using books. Upskilling and support. Now, this is something that you all would want to think about. Recently, I was discussing with some teachers which were working with us, and they mentioned that, they had some wonderful resources. So we were just going through the resources, and they said that one of our major challenges is that if we are stuck somewhere, if one line of code is not working, or any of the instructions are missing, or there is a change in platform, we are not able to reach out to anyone. There is no one to help us out because we are just doing everything on our own, and then we don't know what to do. Has it happened with any one of y'all? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fair enough. So that is something that books might not allow. So books give you the entire content, but if you are stuck somewhere, if you have any queries, why like this, why like that, then that is a limitation for upskilling and support. Projects and practical approach. Again, books have its own limitations. So now everything depends upon the teacher. How creative is the teacher to create projects? How creative is the teacher to ensure that students are learning everything in practical? Because books is just going to be theory, concepts, and examples. But how is every single class and every single student applying it practically is dependent on the teacher only there. So projects and practical is around 50. Competitions and events. So books are not really about competition and event. It is more about knowledge. So here it is rated very low. Cost is average. It is not really very expensive. So cost of a curriculum book would be around 300, 400 rupees. So that is the first thing. So which schools should be using a lot of books? So schools which have their own computer departments with HODs and someone who has extremely good knowledge of practicals, of creating projects and everything, and who have very low budget, should go for books. So we'll move on to the next resource. Let us see what are the next resources.
If you want, could I show the books once?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay.
So the first book, which is this one, these books are not for students. These books are for teachers to learn for themselves. Okay. And why this book in particular? Because it is written by Guido van Rossum, is the guy who created Python itself. So he's the creator of Python, and it's his book. So it's the best one you can get anywhere. Right. Also, it's a manual, so it has everything related to Python. Okay. And this is also a book for teachers. Introduction to Algorithm. These are the authors. Okay. So if you want to learn basics of computer data structures and algorithm, this is the best book you can get in the whole world, I guess.
Fair enough.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Great. So, and
Next.
even if there are a lot of publications having very simple resources they've created, so you all can use that also. But it's just that what works for you all, what doesn't work for you all, you all decide.
Yeah,
What we are going to do today, we are just going to see what is strong in which section. So books are very strong in terms of
Yes.
theory and knowledge. Then the second resource is internet. Going on the internet, maybe going for free resources. There are a lot of free resources available on the internet. There are paid resources as well. But referring to the internet, what is available online, going to that. So how does it rate? In terms of knowledge, it is excellent because it must be updated. It must be created by experts. So you all can also see some reference sites. So code.org, CodeChef, Free Code Camp. These are some references that you all can use. Access to content is decent. Updates to the content is very good because they are always on top of it and they always have the best content updates available. Support. Now that is a limitation because generally these are all online resources. They do not have a team or they don't really work for schools or teachers to provide them support because that is not their objective of doing the initiative or the business. So generally their objective is to create content and share. But if you are stuck, if you need any help, that is not somewhere they can help. So support is rated low and competition in events is rated low. Okay. Projects, some might have their own projects which you can immediately implement. But somewhere it will be the teacher's creativity and understanding of how to create projects based on the available resources. Cost is sometimes very low. It might also be free in some platforms. And some platforms, there are paid programs. So we've kept it at average around 70. So summary, which school should be using it? So schools which have limited budget, not really looking at any support or upskilling or any training of the teachers, can use these resources. Assuming the teacher is excellent, they just need some resource to just implement and get started, then this might be the solution. We can move on to the next solution. One of the solutions after this can be you make your own curriculum. So if you make your own curriculum, what do you all think? What is the requirement? Can you quickly type in or just share? So one is that a teacher should be really the master of it, like really very good. It shouldn't happen that one teacher. So I was in one of the schools which was teaching Hindustani music, and the teacher had changed. So for a 1.5 years, there was one teacher who was following a particular gharana, and then the teacher changed. And now everything that she taught went for a toss because the other teacher was not following that particular gharana. She was following, I think, Western classical or something very different. And so the entire learning went for a toss. So it shouldn't happen like that. It should be someone from a very reputed content background. Okay, so knowledge should be very high and you gain a lot of knowledge. Access to content is super high. Updates to content, because you're doing your own research, creating your own curriculum, you have to have the updated content. Upskilling and support. So you don't have external support to do that. So the point is that the teacher or the head who is making the curriculum should be the most resourceful person. Projects and practical approach is fair enough. It depends on, again, that person who's creating it. Competition events might not be the most biggest strength of that person, because that person is a content creator, someone who understands the technology, but not really the master of events. The cost is very high because the cost of creating a curriculum, implementing it, and ensuring that it is executed is very high. You have to have multiple resources doing research and building the curriculum. Yeah, so moving on to the next possibility, I think this is the second last possibility, is using an LMS like what we have. Now the benefit here is that the knowledge is very high. You have access to the content at any point of time. You can use it from your phone and everything. The content is super updated because the team sitting there has to ensure that the content is updated, and every year there is new addition to it with new platforms, new technology and updates, upskilling and training. So if the teachers are being trained by the LMS provider, then it is a very good thing. So then there is a possibility of upskilling and support continuously. Plus the LMS provider should not just train and go away. So the LMS provider should be in support for the entire year with continuous meetings and all of those things. So then they can expect support as well. Competition and events is something that that curriculum LMS provider should also help with. Cost is generally very low because this is one ready LMS, and generally the cost is around 500-600 rupee per student for the entire year. So that is what they generally charge, including Hackberry as well. So that is our cost as well. And the last solution that you can really use, which is the best solution actually for the student, which is the best solution for the student, is if the entire department is outsourced. Okay, if the entire department is outsourced to experts who can bring in the hardware, software, upgrade the entire lab, put in their expert teachers, have their own curriculum, then it is excellent for the student. But which schools should do that? Schools which do not believe that their teachers can execute it, and the schools which believe that they have a lot of budget. So it must cost around 3,000 to 5,000 rupee per student a year. If that is a budget available, then outsourcing the entire department can be one of the solution. Does this make sense for everyone? Yes, no? Okay, so now we are almost, we are out of time. Now what we can do is I'm sharing the feedback form link. Nishan, what do we have after this? Okay, so this was a summary of all the resources. I hope you all have understood and you all understand what is it that suits your school. If your school is very low on budget, then maybe you all can just do books. If your school has like mid-budget and has good teachers who can learn, then maybe an LMS is good. And the school does not have teachers but has budget, then maybe outsource the entire department, something like that. That way you can ensure that the implementation is well. We were planning to do a live class today. I'm not sure if everyone has the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a feedback link on the chat right now. Only those who fill it right now will get the certificate, because we realized that last time around 100 people had attended the workshop, but we got around 170 names for the certificate. So then we thought it was incorrect. So here's the link. Please just open the link right now. You all can fill it up later, but just open the link right now and maybe just put in your names if you all want. Now, the final question for everyone. Would anyone want to go through a maybe 15-20 minute live class? Then just mention a yes in the chat box, or can we do a poll, Nishant? Live class, yes, no. If there are more than 20, then we will do a live class right away. It would be around 15-20 minutes. And we'll just explore one platform. That is the objective, nothing more. Okay. Okay, understood. So a lot of y'all would not want to do it. So what we'll do is we'll right now, for those who want to move out, y'all can move out. I hope y'all learned something. We added some value to what you already knew, and we hope this session was meaningful for y'all. So every month, so next month we'll do another session. So y'all have the WhatsApp link right now in the chat box. I'm resharing the link for y'all. Just join that so that y'all keep getting updates for the next month's workshop. Okay, join it right away. So you don't miss out on this link.
Yeah,
Okay.
should they fill the form right away?
Yeah. Just join the link right now and fill the form also. Yeah. So finally, thank you everyone. We'll wait here for those who have time, who have around 15-20 minutes, who want to explore maybe one platform. Please wait back. Others can move on. No problem. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes for everyone who wants to stay back. Please stay back. So we'll take around 15 minutes more and we'll just do a small live class. So in the meantime, Nishant, if you can just share the link, Thunkable link with everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, for everyone who's still on, I hope this was meaningful. Did this help? Fair enough. No, I just said that I hope, whoever attended the last with us since, who are with us since last 50 minutes, I hope our discussion helped you all. Okay, so right now Nishant has shared the link of a platform which we will use to do this live class. So this is project-based learning, which means that we will immediately implement what we learn. Okay, so I'm assuming that everyone who does not want to stay for the live class has left. If not, please go ahead, because we'll start the session maybe in a minute.
You want to start presenting?
Yeah, I'll start presenting. Sure.
Sir, it will work on mobile also?
Probably a bad experience. No.
Hello?
No, it won't.
But
It's a
Thunkable
browser-based.
will work on mobile, Nishant?
No.
Okay, desktop.
I have
No?
to use laptop.
So that's okay. If you're on your mobile, you all can just view my screen because we'll do it together.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting the session then. So I'll just give you all an understanding of what this platform is. So I'm using my own platform just to do one session with you all. And if you all already have a very good platform, then wonderful. Otherwise, you all can also consider. Are you able to see my screen, Nishant?
Yes, true.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my dashboard, right?
Yes. Dashboard.
Okay, wonderful. So everyone, today, let's forget that we are all our teachers and just be students for 15 minutes just to understand how to ideally learn on this platform. And if you're already doing it, wonderful. So kudos to you all. Just keep continuing what you're doing. Now, this is our Teachberry platform that Hackberry uses. So right now, and this is what a teacher would be seeing every time, you and I log in. This is our dashboard. These on the left-hand side under courses are the courses assigned to me for different classes, okay? But today, our objective is to learn maybe app development. We'll just do basics of app development. And we'll just do one session, first 101 of app development, and understand how can we do this. So once we've selected app development, there are three sections that I can see as a teacher, and these are best practices. First is the teacher should learn. Teacher should be very clear with the concepts. So here, if I really want to understand the concepts of the first section of app development, there is part 1. Each part covers around 4 to 5 sessions in the class. So if I go through part 1, I'll be able to conduct around 5 sessions in the class without really having to read a lot. So I'll go through the concepts first in the first section. I'll do a full screen. So my part 1 will cover sessions 1 to 4, which first is Thunkable Basics. So you all would want to make a note of this platform called Thunkable, and you all can explore it yourself as well. So I'll take around 15-20 minutes. So like we were learning that upskilling for teacher is most important, more than the student. So I'll invest around half an hour, go through all the concepts that are mentioned here. Then, so once I've gone through the concepts, maybe I should take an assignment for myself. No one is checking this. This is just for me to understand how much have I understood as a teacher. Okay, and this will actually try and test my understanding and then give me a summary of the entire section. Okay, having said that, now I'm ready to teach this topic, which also means that you don't really have to be an expert coder or a programmer to start teaching such things. You can learn the concepts which are very basic, then go into teaching. Even before teaching, we have to ensure that we are not compromising with our teaching pedagogy. So what we do is, for the first session, which is Thunkable Basics, the first thing that I'll do before the class, I'll just have a look at the goals. Now the goal is given here, and it's first, the goal is to create a simple app using Thunkable platform. Okay, that is the goal, and understand the process of app development. Second important thing before my class, before my session, and this is something that I'll have to do maybe for first few sessions, and later on I'll know the content. So first time I'm using this, I'll go to the lesson plan. So this is ideally for grade 5, beginner. This is the link that I need to use, which you all have also received right now. This session will take around 30 minutes, and this is the goal.
Dhruv, just a second. You
Yeah.
want to check the chat as well, or should we answer the questions in the chat
No, so
together after your session?
not after the session, maybe after I complete one
Some part.
section, then we can take up the topics.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so this lesson plan makes me mentally ready for the entire session, which is going to take around 30 minutes. The most important part is that it tells me what to ask, what to expect as a response, how to have a discussion, which means that I don't really have to prepare a lot for the session there. Everything is here. So expected response should be railways, airline, apps, movie ticket booking apps. Then I need to explain what I have to explain. And this explains everything that I need to do, which now I'll enter the session now, and I'll take it as with students. Is it clear till now with everyone? Okay, could you explain whether we have to log in Hackberry platform? Yes, everyone has to log into that Hackberry platform. Everyone receives a login, and I used my login to enter that platform. Right? So that is how it is. Now, I understood the goals, I understood the lesson plan. Now I'm entering the class and doing the entire session with y'all as students. So should we go ahead and do one session together? The most important part is you all received a link of Thunkable, right? So use the Thunkable link. Let us create something, maybe a basic app together today in the next 15 minutes. So Nishant has again shared the link. Go ahead and log in into the lab. Okay, so let me go ahead and conduct the session. Okay, so it's called Thunkable Basics. Now for everyone, apps is a short form that we use for the term applications. That is something that we see on our phones, our laptops, everywhere. Each app solves a particular purpose. Alarm clocks is for waking us up on time. Calculator is for us to do calculations without, racking our brains. Similar is for, time app or other, to-do list app, weather app, something like that. Every app has its own purpose. Correct. Now, apps can solve complex problems or simple problems. So first, these examples are very simple. It has one objective for mathematical calculation, for clock, for alarm. Now there are complex apps as well. What are complex apps? Can someone give us examples? What are complex apps and why is it complex? Can you all write in the chat box? Google Maps. Oh yes, Google Map is one of the most complex applications. IRCTC, very true. Very high on logic. Okay, so I think there were other questions as well. Did we miss anything, Nishan?
No, some teachers were trying to log into Thunkable. They're
Okay.
asking whether join as a
Fair
student
enough.
or teacher.
We'll look at it together again. Fair enough.
Yeah,
So
we'll
chalo,
do it together. We'll do it together.
we'll do it together then. Don't worry. So perfect. I think your answers are perfect because suppose Google Apps or maybe Google Maps, it is solving multiple things. It is trying to gauge my time. It is trying to gauge my speed. It is trying to also monitor through GPS, through live location and through satellite. What is it that's impeding in my way? How much time would it take? Where is it very high on traffic, which is low on traffic? It is also trying to decide which is the best route for me, whether I'm using a two-wheeler, four-wheeler, or I'm walking. It has multiple things that it is doing parallelly. Hence, it is a complex app. Similarly, is for food app, food ordering apps and everything. These are solving complex problems. But how are apps made? So this is one concept that we need to understand in the first session. There are two parts to making one application. There is a design part, which means what we see is the design part of it. And logic part is what happens when we do something on the app, is the logical part of it. So as we understand, first is the design part, second is the logic part. Now, let us explore a new platform to make our own applications. Just like if you want to prepare some food, we would probably go to the kitchen because kitchen has all the ingredients. It has the right environment to make some food. We can make it everywhere. We can make it in the bedroom as well. But kitchen has the ideal setup to make good food or create something beautiful. Similarly, Thunkable is one of the platforms which has all the ingredients. It has the right environment to make apps, like testing immediately, using all no-code based blocks and logic, as well as the design part of it. So let's explore it together. So this, I hope, has everyone created their own accounts? Yes, no? Okay, couple of you all have. Okay, most of you all have. Perfect. So you all will see this, you all can sign up with Google. Then you all can just name it as your first app. Category can be anything like education or just testing. In the end, just create. Okay, so now I'll share my screen and my Thunkable platform. Can you all see my Thunkable platform?
No.
Okay. Now can you all see it?
Yes.
Wonderful. So now this is the Thunkable platform. I think you all would. Sorry.
So Bashini ma'am has asked that. Can you please wait for her?
Yeah, sure.
She is in front of something.
In the meantime, I hope everyone is there on this page.
Let everyone come here on this page.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So before Thunkable, which platform were you using? When you put, where you showed the lesson plan and everything?
Oh no, that was our own LMS. So we also are curriculum providers in most of the schools. Okay. So it was a Hackberry platform that I was using. If you all would want to try, maybe if you all would just want to have a tour of how it works, then I can share a demo login with most of you all, and you all can explore that platform as well.
Okay. If possible, you can share us with the demo login and password.
Yeah. Right now, so what I'll do is I'll send an email separately after this, but right now you can just focus on what I'm showing as a teacher, and that is all that you need right now.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, so
now I have logged in.
Okay.
When I click on my project, it just says start building.
Yes, correct.
Should we click on that?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have to enter the project name.
Correct. You mention any project name, keep it public. So are we all ready? We will understand very basics of app development today. Okay, so now a couple of things. One is, what is this platform all about? So this platform is a block-based application development platform. Now there are two types of coding. One is a no-code block-based coding, and then there is text-based coding, something like Python, Java. These are all text-based coding languages. Thunkable uses block-based coding language where you don't have to really type any code. There are all logical blocks available. All that the students have to really do is think of the sequence of what they want to create, and then ensure that they get the blocks, put it in sequence, and immediately test it. And that is what Thunkable will be helping us today with. Okay, so I'll start. We'll go to our first page. We'll create our app. You can mention it as new app. I can do that, education. And create. Are you all able to see a mobile screen in the center?
Yes.
Okay, so this is ideally the mobile screen. And the beauty of it is, this is exactly what we'll be seeing on the phone as well. So we don't need a phone in the class to test all of these things. Now, on the left-hand side, we see two sections. One is a design section, one is a block section. So design section, as we had learned right now, is that this will help us with a look and feel of the app. Block is something that will deal with the logical part of the application. So first we'll do a very basic, we'll create a label. So you all see in this component section, I'll just pick up a label. I'll place it on my mobile screen. Now, what is a label? Label is simply like a sticker that we put on a book, which has some text that we can edit. So let us just edit this text and put it as high roof. That's it. Okay, and this is, we can of course change the color and all of those things. We can do the designing of it as we would love to do it. This is one part. Now, this is just the label. This does not have any logical impact. Now what we'll do is, now we'll create a button. So we are exploring the components today of a mobile application. So now we created a button as simple as this. Okay. Now this button can just remain like this. So let us also look at. Okay. So here it is. Now on the button, we can just keep it like that. We can change the text if we want to.
So a lot of options are there. Change the look and feel of the button.
Change the look and feel of the button if you want. Okay. So now this is just the designing part of it. What do you want to do with this is the most important part. So now what we'll do is we go into the blocks section and add some logic. So what do I want to do? What I want to do is every time I click on the button, the label should add good morning to it. So if it is hi Dhruv, when I click the button, the label should change to hi Dhruv, good morning. Just that much. And I just want to understand how it works. Yeah, is it making sense for everyone? Yes, no? Of course, I can do a lot of things with the design, but we'll just explore one topic at a time. What we'll do is we'll go into the block section now. We'll select the button. You'll see on the left-hand side, there is button. Now here are the blocks. So these are the blocks that we can explore. What do we want to do? We want that every time I click a button, something should happen. So here, if you see the first block, we see when button 1 is clicked, it will do something. So yes, this is what I want as a logical thought. So when button is clicked, it should do something here. What should it do? It should do something to the label. So we click on the label and we explore all the label related actions. So I would want the labels text to change to something else. So here I'll pick up this component which says set, and it will fix here because this is all block based and it fixes together. So when button is clicked, it should set labels text to. Okay, so I'll change the text here. Good morning. And this is what I want it to do. Does it make sense until now? Yes, no?
Yes. Nice.
Okay. So now, all that we did is we understood there was a design part of application development and there's a logical part of app development. And now what we'll do is the most important thing of app development, which is testing every feature that you add. So now this is the feature that I add. Now what I'll do is I'll immediately do a web review. I'll see if what I thought is happening or no. So if you all can see the screen, it's written hi Dhruv. If I click a button, it is changing to good morning Dhruv, which means that small logical part which I introduced is working. Is it making sense for everyone? Yes. So simply in the first small session, these are the things that we are learning. So parallelly, this is what I would be showing on the screen as well. I'll select this button, this code. Then I'll be selecting the label. I can edit the properties of the label. I'll place the label where I can insert it under the button block. I'll change it to whatever text I want to show. Then I'll click on web preview, okay, which is the testing feature on Thunkable. I click on a button and I'll see my text being changed. So congratulations. This was the first thing that we learned in the first session of app development. Firstly, we'll brainstorm together as a group. What is it that we want to do today? Then we'll use components to design the look and feel of the app. Then for each component, we'll try and add a logical part to it from the blocks section on Thunkable. Once we've added the logic using the blocks, we'll immediately test it and preview our app of how it would happen on the phone. And this is what app development session 1 would look like. Great. So this is what one session would be like, where every single child will be doing the exact same steps with you in groups or individually, while all steps are being featured on the screen, and everyone is actually practically doing it along with the teacher. And this is what project-based learning would look like. And it is upon the teacher where they would want to do it in groups, brainstorm around what app to develop, which color to add, what shape to add, what text to add, and then add logic to it. Can you please show how to run? Okay, so I'll again go on my, so for everyone else, did it make sense? I'll repeat it for Subhashini ma'am again. But did just creating 101 application make sense for everyone else?
I understood, but I'm not understanding how to share it. Like it's still we are in testing only.
Okay, so how to share it? So I'm just sharing my screen right now. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so first of all, ma'am, every student would have their own app on their screen. Now, to share it, you can use this share button. You can share application, correct? And you can generate link and share this project. It will go as APK file, right, Nishant?
No, it will open like this one. So
Okay.
if you share that link, to
Mhm.
anyone
Okay.
using email or chat or anything, then they can open it in the same way you have opened it. So once they log into Thinkable, they will be able to see your project and
Okay.
remix your project like how Scratch does as well.
Okay. Perfect.
So also if people want to know what is the difference between Scratch and Thunkable, so whatever you make on Scratch, you cannot take it outside of Scratch, right? It stays in the Scratch. Those games, those apps can only be run on like executed on Scratch. Whatever you make on Thunkable can be used in your mobile phones as well. You can have your own app created just for you, made by you. You can be using it yourself, so you can download the APK version of it, install it in your phone, and use it. Also, students can publish it on the Google Play Store, Apple Play Store, iOS Store, Apple Store, and stuff like that.
So actually, when you created a link, I tried to paste it in another tab. It is open as like a project only.
Hmm.
I mean, I want it as an app, only an app.
Then you can use the download button and download it as an APK.
So can you show it once?
Okay. Dhruv, should I? Or should I show it, Dhruv? You're mute. Mute. You're showing the Go ahead.
Okay. So here I can download, right? Where do I download?
On those icons which are there after the web preview,
Publish and download,
publish
right?
and download. Yeah. So you can either publish it or you can download it on Android. So it will give you an APK. There is also a live test option also. So if you want to directly see it in your mobile phone, so then you use the live test on device option, where you can see the app in your mobile phone also.
Does it answer your question, ma'am? So either
Yes,
you
I
downloaded as an app.
downloaded it and published it. It usually sends this link to the email, right?
No, download Android is APK. It's a file which you can install it in your phone.
Here from the computer, I said publish and download, and then I clicked on download Android because okay,
Correct.
so here download Android when I said it says email. Okay.
It will email you the download APK file. So once you check your email, it will give you a file which you can open it inside your mobile phone and install it inside your mobile phone.
Okay.
Fair enough. So I believe this addresses the question. So the last thing that we really wanted to share is what happens. So this was the first session. What happens after 10, 15, 20 sessions? So we just had some projects that we thought we should share with you all. Can you all see the project screen? No, I'll share it again.
Yeah.
So what is the outcome of learning this? What can students really create is what we'll quickly have a look, and then we'll sign off for the evening. So if you all see this is, I can share this link. Nishant, you can share this link in the chat box.
I'll share, yeah.
So if you see, these are some of our project some students have created. This is some Ronak Parmar in grade 5 who created a weather app using Thunkable platform. So it was created using Thunkable. What does this app do? Let's quickly have a look. So you'll see the design part of it was done by the student, where in the text box you mention the city name and you click on the button to have the live weather report. And a lot of parents can also use what children have created. A lot of schools encourage that, if your child has created something, use it. And a lot of parents, in fact, a lot of schools are also using what their students have created. So that is a beautiful thing to do. Similarly, to-do list app. So someone, just like we would want to keep a track of our tasks. So This is a simple to-do-list app that can be created by students. So the task is entered, the end date of the task is entered. Okay. Then once the task is complete, you can strike it off as complete. There are other features that you can add. You can add, alarm to it. You can add a reminder to it. Okay, makes sense. So this is what children would be able to create after like 15, 18 sessions in the year. So every year, so it builds onto it. So first thing that we learned about the components, second time we learn about loops, variables, all of those things. And then it will build onto what we really want them to create. Does that make sense for everyone?
So actually, that link which I created, it said it will send to the email, but I did not get it.
Maybe Nishant, you can also connect with Asha ma'am and guide her on
Yeah.
particularly. Asha ma'am, are you based in India?
Yes.
Okay,
Bangalore.
maybe. So Nishant, if you share your number
At
with
the end
ma'am.
of this call, ma'am can wait for a minute. I can show her if you want,
Okay,
or we can
perfect.
plan it later on also.
No, perfect. So maybe in the end, you can also discuss with her. For everyone else, was this good enough? Was this small session good enough? Yeah, so if you all think you all would want to try out Hackberry's platform to teach, to use, you'll let me know. In fact, in the feedback link also, you can mention that, we would like to do a small demo or we would like to use your platform, and we'll share the link with you all. Okay. So wonderful. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. We meet again next month. I hope you all have joined the community group, so that we can all discuss there and plan for the next workshop.
Yeah, and please complete the feedback form for your certificates as soon as possible.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. You all can go ahead and leave the meeting while Nishant addresses Asha ma'am's doubt. Thank you.
Yeah. So should I share my screen? Is it possible?
Yes, go ahead.
Present. Okay. So do you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. It's
So
visible.
this is how we have done it.
Yes.
So this is a publish and
Publish
download.
and download. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do the first option. Great.
So here it says it will send to this email ID. The email ID is also
Correct.
good. So I can say send.
Send. Yeah.
But I did this.
So if you send, and then you should get an email.
Yeah. So I should get an email, but I'm not getting it.
You should. It will take some time. It's okay.
But
You can check the email. I think it should be there.
see here it says you are only allowed to build one app at a time. Okay. So actually I have clicked on that shareable link here. So maybe.
There are only 2 downloads a month available. If they are trying that, if it's a free account, they allow only 2 downloads in a month. So
This is like actually I'm using code.org. I teach code.org in my school.
correct.
And there we use App Lab, if you are aware of code.org. And
Yes.
where it's maybe because we are using it for a long time, we feel it more convenient how many ever app we can.
Yes. Code.org always is there as an option. And there are a lot of other options. So people can be using anything. Why are we doing Thunkable is that we find it more convenient in terms of implementation, where students can see the virtual screen on the browser, as well as you can live test it as well if schools have phones or something, but which generally they don't have, so which creates a problem in testing and all.
Is this, I mean, what is exactly difference between code.org and this? Because there also we can test, we can do the design, coding, and testing and sharing. Everything can be done. How is exactly different?
So I think you can publish your apps as well, and I think what Thunkable does is stay updated. And you can use AI related stuff as well. So it has Chat GPT plugins, and it has a lot of plugins which maybe Code.org expects you to do manually. So that is a lot of problem or effort as well, like that. But it has a lot of other built-in features which we can directly put in your app.
Okay.
Maybe I could download it.
Is
And it can
this,
also be put
yeah.
on Play Store as well. So have you tried putting anything from your Code.org app to your Play Store?
No, never. I mean,
Ah.
it's not possible then.
So then this you can directly use that option and publish it on your Play Store. Your app will then can also be put on Play Store and that well. And
Oh, yeah. Is this Thunkable paid version is also
so
there?
free version, this is the free version. Free
Okay.
version will give you 10 projects in a lifetime. So you can have only 10 projects there. But paid version gives you a lot of that space. But free students generally can learn on free version. That's okay. The paid version is only for people who are doing a business on this thing. So there are a lot of businesses and like people, companies who make their real life app on this thing, like real time apps. So say a pizza delivery company or something like that, ice cream delivery shop, they make their apps on this and they put it live on Play Store and Apple Store, so people can use it. So it's not something which people use it only for teaching. It's something which entrepreneur can use for their own self development and then use it in real life as well. But teachers also use it for creating apps and teaching how to make apps. So maybe what differentiates this from code.org is you cannot publish your apps. It doesn't come back to you as an APK file, right?
Yes, it is only always a link which is
Yes.
created, and
Nishan,
only with
Yeah.
the internet connection and all those things we have to open it. And yeah, it's a good for I mean, for the beginners, for the students.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, it just gives you an option to take it out of your web app, put it inside your phone as well. If you see the live test also, no, you can try that later on, just tinker around it. Live test option is also good.
So sorry to interrupt, Nishan. So I'll drop out. I have another meeting starting now.
No problem. Yeah.
Are we also done? Then maybe I can.
Yeah, I think we are done. I think, ma'am, if you also have anything, we have the group. You can DM us. You can email
Sure.
us.
You're on the group now, Asha ma'am?
I'm going to join.
Okay. Fair enough. You have the link, right?
Yes, I have the link. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you,
if you
sir.
have any questions now, please free to ask.
Sure. I'll do
Okay,
that.
wonderful.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Yes.
Sir, in this now, can you please show me how to download and live demo? How can you please show it?
Live demo of what?
Means after creating the app, we want to show immediately. So live demo, it's asking for the Play Store as well as Apple.
No. You can share the link on your phone because actually Nishant was just showing that, and I have another meeting actually to join
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
So, but let me maybe send a link or something to you.
Okay. And another question is whether we can include QR code of any product. Suppose if you want to do a live app, and based on that, we want to give the details. Is it possible with this app?
I'm not sure, ma'am. We'll have to check with Nishant because he is someone who is
So
also
can
a
I post
developer.
this query in
Yes,
the...
yeah. Post it in the group. No
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
चलो कोड इनवैलिड आ रहा है कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा